edition of the Sports Report. And we are back. We got the full crew in the house. That is what it's all about. The Yankees, out of any team in the league, are the best equipped to handle a blow like this.
I think there is a higher power at play here. He's due law of averages. That dude is the ultimate scrub. It's trash. Yeah. Every person you have in there is fucking trash.
Next game, you're going to see a big performance. You can see it in the end of the game, and I'm just totally stoked and excited for this.
And we are back. Welcome to another edition of the Sports Report. And once again, it is the Tony and Barnes show. Anthony, how are you, my friend?
Oh, I'm doing phenomenal. Happy hump day, Brian. November 2nd. I can't believe it, dude.
November 2nd. The trade deadline has passed us. The Phillies are in the driver's seat. And the Rangers have a 3-game winning streak. So times are good. Imagine if the Yankees were in the World Series.
Oh, man, dude.
But
I mean, I wouldn't know it'd be better if the Mets were in the World Series.
They are not. And then also, there is complete dysfunction in the air for the Brooklyn Nets as well. What an embarrassing situation. So much to talk about, Tony. But let's start now in the world of the National Football League.
6 for 101, 2 touchdowns. To Evans, touchdown, Tampa Bay. How about that throw? Sam Darnold blasted. Oh my goodness, did he take a hit? In trouble once, brings him down. Lost one for Odell Beckham Jr. Got it down, touchdown.
And speaking of Odell Beckham Jr., the Giants, I guess, came out and said that they would talk to him, which is kind of interesting. You would think Dable and Joe Shane, we talked about culture last time we discussed this. You'd think they'd be against that.
I mean, why wouldn't you just talk to him, though? What does that really mean, Brian?
Well, and I think the thing is, compared to the other guys that were there, and I think it's just they feel like Dable can handle anything, kind of similar to when Tom Coughlin was there. He was able to handle him just fine. So I think that's a thought, that there was just weak coaching thereafter, in the form of Pat Shurmur and Ben McAdoo, that just could not handle Odell. So definitely a situation to monitor. But I did mention trade deadline yesterday, 4 Eastern, and we had probably the busiest trade deadline we've ever had in the NFL. So many places to go here. I guess the first deal of the day yesterday, the Vikings acquire TJ Hawkinson, a 2023 fourth rounder, a 2024 conditional fourth rounder in exchange for a 2023 second rounder and a 2024 third rounder. I think possibly a complete steal for the Minnesota Vikings. And they just announced Irv Smith might be out for the year with a high ankle sprain. So Hawkinson would, step right into that number 1 tight end position. Oh yeah, dude. Love to see that. I mean, for Minnesota too. I mean, think of what they've been doing. I feel like so far in this season, I mean, they're surprising everybody and they're, making a good acquisition trade deadline. I mean, they're going to be pretty dangerous, dude. I mean, and I understand that the Lions are out of it. And I guess they're thinking that, they're not going to re-sign Hawkinson to some big contract, but still, I mean, I think that they should have gotten a second and third rounder and not had to give anything back. I mean, to have to give fourth rounders back, I really don't understand that. We got fleeced? I kind of think so. I mean, we saw Hawkinson this year, and I know he's not much of a blocker, can block in situations, but have almost 200 yards receiving in a game. I mean, he's a playmaker, and then you add that to Dalvin Cook and Adam Thielen, and of course Justin Jefferson, in the occasional throw to KJ Osborne. I mean, that's a really loaded offense. So really, Minnesota going all in, and just the fact too, I mean, I guess that's the Lions, but to trade him within the division as well, he could torment them for years if they get an extension done. Oh yeah, dude. So I thought that was pretty interesting. How about the Chicago Bears? A lot was made of, trading Roquan Smith, but then they trade for Pittsburgh Steelers wide receiver Chase Claypool, giving up a second rounder in this year's NFL draft. What are your thoughts about that acquisition?
Honestly, I think that's a phenomenal acquisition. I love Claypool. You saw when he first came to the Steelers, I feel like he was definitely breaking some rookie records. I think.
Yes, touchdowns. I think he had 11.
Yeah, I mean, he was absolutely on fire. The man's electric, super talented, seems to have a great attitude as well, is young, could be a serious, receiver that could kind of be there for the future of your team here. I would say great move, right?
Yeah, and I guess Pittsburgh was anxious to get rid of him just because I think they didn't like some type of attitude thing he has because he made a big impact early, then they kind of reduced the amount of plays that he was in. So I think that was a situation and that they weren't going to re-sign him. But like you said, I mean, I think he's very talented and very physical at the wide receiver position, can block. So I think that's a great move for Justin Fields. And they were saying on NFL Live yesterday, your boy Dan Orlovsky was saying the acquisition of Chase Claypool reconfirms their commitment to Justin Fields. That's why you go out and acquire him. And, he's played well the last couple of games.
I suppose Dan wasn't wrong.
So I guess that works out for them. The Dolphins made a couple moves yesterday. The first one, really the big move, acquiring Bradley Chubb, the outside linebacker from Denver. They also acquired a 5th rounder in exchange for running back Chase Edmonds, a 1st-round pick in this year's draft, and a 4th-round selection in next year's draft. Chubb, obviously, the top pass rusher available on the open market here. I think this is a home run move, and it's a similar move to the Rams last year getting Von Miller, but the difference being Chubb is, 5-6 years younger. Yeah. Really a home run move here for Miami.
Yeah, we talked about it yesterday. Having a pass rusher, a good one at that. You can have enough defense. Having him on the team is just going to be threatening any type of offensive tool another team has. But their running back, was he not producing well? What were his numbers like?
So Chase Edmonds, he definitely wasn't getting the bulk of the carries. They were kind of spreading them out, but Edmonds, 42 rushes for 120 yards. So that's actually only 2.9 yards per carry, and 10 catches, 96 yards. And we've seen him, have more of an impact out of the backfield, but who knows, it could be variety of things, but the coaching staff and just philosophies as to why he wasn't getting a lot of carries. But then they end up acquiring Jeff Wilson, who was the Niners starting running back, but obviously was displaced by Christian McCaffrey. So they gave up a 5th rounder for him. And he's actually had a pretty productive season for San Francisco. 92 carries for 468 yards, 2 touchdowns. He's only 25 years old. So I think that's a great move for Miami.
Yeah, that is good for them. And I feel like they could use some more help on like both sides of the ball, really.
Yeah. In their offense. And I was like blanking on who has gotten the majority of the carries so far. Raheem Mostert, who coincidentally enough came from San Francisco and was in the running back room with Jeff Wilson with the 49ers. So they get to reunite on the Dolphins, who, and I hate it too, because, the Jets, their only move was to, acquire a 4th rounder, give up a 5th, and then trade Jacob Martin, a defensive end. They signed to a small 3-year deal in the offseason. And, you feel like Miami got really made an impact here with Chubb and Wilson. So the Jets, I understand. There's not a lot of expectation for this year, but it would have been nice to get Chubb. I guess I could see from their mindset, they didn't want to give up a 1st-round pick, not knowing if he would resign. But it's like, we saw what they did with Tyreek Hill. It's like, here we go again, the Dolphins beating us to the punch. And, they've always been an organization that hasn't been run properly, but it seems like they hit right with the head coach, and he's really transformed Tua into a different quarterback. So going to be tough competing with Miami. I think that we beat them in our head-to-head meeting this year. And
Mhm.
obviously, there was the injuries to the quarterback, but
Right.
going to be tough to compete with Miami the next couple of years.
Yeah, no, definitely. I feel like especially now. I mean, not that they're in like maybe a little bit of a panic mode, but they got off to the hot start, kind of cooled off a little bit. I guess maybe teams are kind of adjusting. Obviously, you mentioned Tua being injured for a little bit. But them to make moves to obviously like better their team. I mean, that's exactly what a good team does to put themselves in a better position to, have a playoff run.
Yeah.
So great job by them.
Yeah, absolutely. And continuing on here, the Jacksonville Jaguars acquire suspended wide receiver Calvin Ridley, who obviously, was suspended for placing a couple wagers on the Falcons, while he was away from the team last year. So Jacksonville gives up a 5th rounder and a conditional 4th in next year's draft. So, I mean, I think this is a really good move for Jacksonville. I mean, we know at one point or another, Ridley's going to be, reinstated into the league, and that gives Trevor Lawrence, a bona fide number 1 wide receiver. And they don't really give up too much. I mean, a 5th this year, conditional 4th. I guess it could be a 2nd if he re-signs with the team. But even so, I mean, that's a former 1st-round pick. So I think that's a good move for Jacksonville looking ahead. For the future, as Matthew checks in as well as your mother.
Yeah, a few comments here. My mother says, good morning, Mom. Matthew says, the mother effing Dolphins, the rat bastards. And then he says, Chubb would have been nice, Barnes. I know it's not an area where we need too much help, but now it's just like, just don't have to worry about him in the vision and being in our QB's face.
Yeah. And I mean, I had mentioned to Tony, offensive line, it would have been nice, to get Laramie Tunsil, Mr. Gas Mask. But unfortunately, the Jets don't do anything, so they got to work with what they have. And I know, down Vera Tucker is tough on the offensive line, but they got to find a way. And it would be really sweet to sweep the Dolphins. We'll play them again this year. So time will tell, how this will work out for both teams.
Oh, yeah.
We saw the Buffalo Bills, one of the best teams in the league, obviously, improved by adding running back Naheem Hines from the Indianapolis Colts, giving up Zach Moss, the running back who was really in the doghouse, not getting too many carries, and a conditional 2023 6th-round pick. So really not giving up much of anything. The thing that I found interesting, though, is Hines is kind of a similar skill set to that of Devin Singletary and James Cook. So I guess they're just going to rotate the guys in, keep everyone fresh. And I always thought he could be really good, but he just never got the carries because obviously Jonathan Taylor.
And I feel like Hines, I mean, the first few games, even though it was limited carries, I mean, I feel like you saw some good production out of him, though.
Yeah. And even if he's just going to catch balls out of the backfield, he's very good at that. So I think that's a good move, for them. We saw the Falcons pick up Kansas City Chief cornerback Rashad Fenton, a guy who had started the last couple of years with the Chiefs, bringing a couple rookie corners. So they just give up a 6th-round pick, a 7th-round pick in this year's draft conditionally. So I think, that works for them. And then the last move here, the Bills acquiring Falcons safety Dean Marlowe. So they add some depth at that safety position and give up a 2023 7th-round pick. But and then the only other one I was missing here, the Steelers acquiring William Jackson III from Washington, as well as a 7th-round pick in exchange for a 6th-rounder. So kind of a minimal move there, but quite the action-packed day. And if you had to say, Tony, kind of just to wrap up this conversation, we know the big names: Hawkinson, Claypool, Chubb, Hines. Out of all those guys, who do you think is going to make the biggest impact the rest of the way here?
That's a good question. I would say a single guy, I would say, to make the biggest impact, I would say is probably Claypool. In Chicago with Fields. I mean, I think they're going to be hooking up a lot. I think they're going to jive real well together. And like you mentioned, Claypool can do other things other than just catch. So I think he will probably make the biggest impact. And if I were to pick a team that I guess would, win the trade deadline, I guess you would say the Dolphins, right?
Right. Yeah.
So
You get a running back, you
yeah.
get a pass rusher. I'm actually going to go with TJ Hawkinson. I just think, there's so much attention that needs to be focused on Dalvin Cook, on Justin Jefferson, on Adam Thielen. He's going to be opened up, and this could really take that Vikings offense that's already high powered. You have a guy in Kevin O'Connell who learned under Rams coach Sean McVay. He knows how to work with talent offensive pieces. I think that's going to play huge dividends. And imagine, all the talk the last couple of years about the mediocrity of Kirk Cousins. The talent's there. I mean, is it really out of the realm of possibility? We've seen the weakness of the NFC this season, that he could potentially have a chance to get to a Super Bowl.
Yeah.
Who would have thought that going into the season? And I know obviously we have a long way to go here, but it seems like they have a stranglehold on a division. I mean, obviously Detroit's out of it. Chicago's not going to win the division. So unless Green Bay goes on some, RELAX run here with Aaron Rodgers, just not going to happen. No, just a couple of years ago, they had a bad start, and he said that at the podium, and they ended up actually going on a run and winning the division.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Oh, that's pretty cool.
So just something to keep an eye out for, Tony. And obviously, Thursday night football resumes tomorrow, the beginning of week 9.
Wow.
In the NFL. Wow. Wow. The Eagles and the Texans, which could be the biggest blowout of the season. The line is now up to 14 for Philadelphia. So obviously all of the bettors out there hammering the Eagles. But we will see. But for now, Tony, let's go to the world of the National Hockey League.
Here's Matthews. Scores! Hat-trick goal! My goodness, this is a great shot. Big hit on the far side by McCarr. He flattens Jordan's skull. Oh, my goodness. That's the gun right back. Terrified and robbed by Shesterkin. That's brilliant from Igor Shesterkin. It's a breakaway to win it in overtime. McDavid scores the winner in overtime.
It was overtime, Brian.
Some things just never get old, Tony. However, speaking of overtime, the Rangers in overtime defeat the Flyers 1-0 in the Tortorella reunion game here. And a guy that I called out yesterday, Chris Kreider, with the game winner.
Love it.
But an odd game to have no scoring through 3 periods.
Yeah.
And then the fact, too, that Shesterkin into overtime only had 19 saves. So the Flyers were not even getting up shots.
No.
Now, do you credit the Rangers defense for not even letting them get to the kind of that back layer of defense, or do you think it's just more of the ineptitude of the Flyers offense this game?
I think it was a few things. What you saw last night was a little ineptitude from the Flyers offense, I'm sure. But I think what was honestly a huge part of the reason why there were so many, so little shots on goal was actually because, you saw a lot of the Rangers forwards kind of back checking. They did a phenomenal job of getting back on defense, helping the defenders, kind of get to their assignments. And then you saw those forwards kind of come back, like I said, back check, poke out some pucks with some sticks, really cause an issue for the Flyers who were trying to start up some offense here. But 19 shots on goal with overtime is pretty crazy. And of course, Shesterkin will take that all day. He was perfect all the way through it. Very interesting game. I mentioned the Rangers need to come out hot. I guess they sort of did. There were face-offs early, which was good, but they were giving up the pucks a lot. Start the game. I think Jacob Trouba actually had like 2 giveaways, defensive zone, just kind of, poor puck control there. The Flyers actually came out hot and physical to start off, which I guess is always good if you want to try to set the tone. But they were playing the man more than playing the puck. So, the Rangers obviously, privy to that, were able to move the puck a little bit better than normal. And they started getting shots on goal. But then again, it was like a stupid turnover. And then the Flyers would have, a little bit of a push. And it was, a back and forth game, regardless of the shots on goal. throughout obviously the entire game. Obviously, it was nothing. But it was good. It was still, good play by the Rangers here. Taking advantage of overtime here. Chris Kreider, had the beautiful, backhand or forehand backhand shot. I mean, that's like textbook for him, using his speed with the space and just a little move, finding the back of the net. You'll have to see that. But overall, good game. I mean, the Rangers played physical too. They won 21 faceoffs. You saw Trocheck and Zibanejad get in there, and win some puck battles there. But obviously, you would like to see more goal scoring. I understand. 36 shots on net, solid. But if they didn't have so many turnovers, it could have been 45 shots on net. Who knows? A few more goals. 0 for 3 in the power play. You got to do better than that. Obviously Tortorella, knows a lot of these guys. Kevin Hayes has played against a lot of these guys before. It was a tough matchup, good rivalry match. Well, you expect, like I said, more goal scoring from the Rangers here. But hey, win's a win. Let's go. 3-game winning streak.
Yeah. Let's see some more offense though next time out.
Yeah, obviously.
Because I know Corey Hart's good, but still, you definitely want to see a little more. But obviously, nice to have. I said let's put together a winning streak. They obviously do that, and that sets up Tony for a big game
Thursday
tomorrow.
Yeah,
against the Boston Bruins, who somehow, some way have the best record in the league. Bruce Cassidy out. Maybe they need a new voice. I know you said there was a lot of complaints about him.
Yeah.
So that's setting up to be a big game. And I know you're a big Bruins fan, but I think this is a big game that the Rangers have to win for, battle of hierarchy in the Eastern Conference.
Yeah. I mean, absolutely. You saw the Bruins last night. I was obviously joking about taking them, and I told them to bet the mortgage on it. They
in overtime
miraculously won this game. They were 6-5 in overtime.
Yeah.
I mean, obviously, scoring 6 goals against the Penguins, scoring 6 goals against anyone, is pretty serious. Something, the Rangers have only really done once this season. So, that does kind of show that the Bruins could just kind of go off like that. I think they were down like 5-2 or something, second period, or 4-2, something like that. And they found a way. They dug deep. They gritted out this win in Pittsburgh. That's a very dangerous Bruins team. The Rangers definitely have, a big game ahead of them, a tough game ahead of them. And I think a lot of it is going to come, like I said, I mean, same deal against the Flyers here. You come out firing hot, do not have any of those stupid giveaways in your defensive zone, because the Bruins are the type of team where you give them the puck in the middle of the ice in your own zone, they're going to score. Okay. It doesn't matter who your goalie is. They're going to have open ice. They're going to have another man open probably to work with. They're very smart with taking advantage of that. Again, you saw that last night, the comeback victory in the overtime as well. You have to come out, play physical, shut them down. It's going to be a lot of defense, early puck control, and that's really just the name of your game. And honestly, I think it's going to be a phenomenal game. I'm excited to watch it. I mean, this is of course, your New York Boston rivalry here. Brian lives for this shit. And I think it's going to be a lot of fun.
Yeah. So can't wait to watch that game on Thursday. So it's funny, a couple of things. Well, first, I want to give credit to what is becoming my favorite Western Conference team here, the Arizona Coyotes. I know backup tender Bobrovsky was on the bench, but how about Vejmelka, Tony? 41 of 42 saves, 3-1 over the Panthers. Is this a changing of the guard for the Coyotes here?
I don't think so. You're in Arizona too. We know the conditions the Panthers probably have to fucking deal with getting into their stadium. Not exactly I would say, a place people excited to play.
But what's crazy, not to cut you off, but I didn't realize, we saw those pictures, but this is a brand new arena.
Yeah, they were supposed to
why do
play.
They look like shit though? I don't understand.
I don't know. They don't have any money.
It's
a brand new arena, but it's Arizona State.
Yeah. I'm just trying to see.
I mean,
construction costs $134 million. So I guess if you just think about it, college hockey, how much 134 million. If you think about how much a new arena in like the NHL would actually cost,
Yeah, I
because
guess
it is
so.
nothing. Capacity is only 5,000. So I guess it's like thinking about it more and more. Like I've been to the arena for the Providence College Friars for their hockey team. So I think if we're comparing it to that, I could see why maybe it's just a basic thing. But from those pictures, it just looked like, something that was like 30 years old. But maybe it was just the white walls, if that's what it was. Again, a lot of carpeting design. And
well, again, I mean, I know you're still talking college, but I mean, Providence is one of the best teams in the country in terms of college.
Right. And in the
Arizona
State, crazy.
Yeah, Arizona State is not anything. I mean, what even is their hockey team? Come
on. But also it does house their gymnastics team and wrestling team. Mullet Arena, Tony, 5,000. How does the NHL even allow this? This is a 3-year agreement, and I guess the city of Tempe, in the next week or so, is voting on a new stadium. So that would put an end to the return of the Hartford Whalers if that is approved. But Tempe, is there really going to be fan interest there?
I don't know, dude. I mean, obviously the interest in the Coyotes is very limited as is. And I remember reading an article last year that the Coyotes owed a shit ton of money to the state.
They did back pay
taxes. They did end up paying it,
but then
but
they
it's
left anyway.
Yeah. So I mean, I don't know. It's a very precarious situation, I think, in the league. I mean, I really think they should address it because it's not fair to the players that have to go there and go to this facility. I mean, it's an absolute embarrassment as a hockey team. It should be an embarrassment for the league in general. If I was the owner of the Coyotes, if I was the commissioner of the league, I would be like, embarrassed. Like I said, I mean, this isn't something that should be a facility, belonging to the NHL. And evidently, I know obviously, the league has been working a lot on, expanding teams. We saw Seattle and Vegas. The last thing they probably want to do is to dissolve an organization. I'm sure they would, want to look into moving them first. But I think it's something real serious that they should address. And again, I mean, the town has to vote on creating a new stadium. How nice is the stadium really going to be realistically?
This actually, Tony, looks pretty nice.
Really?
Almost like just the design of the building reminds me of the SoFi Stadium, just how it looks from the outside, that type of shape. So this is kind of the synopsis, and you could try to pull up a picture. I'm sure they'll have it. But the Coyotes have proposed an approximately $2.1 billion development.
Is it this looking thing?
No.
Plans for no new arena?
It's not that one.
No.
If you just go Coyotes new arena and just search it in regular Google.
I am in regular Google.
Well, but not images.
Oh, like not images? Like,
yeah, and it just okay. So go down.
Mullet Arena.
The second one. That one. Yeah, that's what I'm looking at. So if you see, or a top, actually, I think it is. Yeah, man, that looks pretty sick. So this would be hockey arena, hotels, 1,600 apartments, retail stores, restaurants, and a sports book. The team says the project would be privately financed, although it hopes to use a portion of the city's sale tax revenue generated by the development to help pay for $200 million in additional costs.
And this is what the inside would look like, I guess.
Are they really going to get that many fans there?
No shot, dude.
I don't know, but I like the look of that complex, though. Maybe, because of the complex, the apartments,
When you think about it, it is a solid idea, especially because I feel like now, I hear a lot of people going to Arizona for bachelor parties and stuff, or even vacations. So obviously, creating more amenities around it, the sports book, the mall, the shopping centers, the restaurants, you're creating a lot of buzz for people just to go there, and maybe see some Coyotes play. But again, I mean, I don't know if they just 200. How do they want to rate? They want to take 200 million from the taxpayers and the rest of it privately funded.
Yeah.
Who?
I don't know. I'm sure there's a lot of hurdles, this and that. And the one thing, I love the arena. So, I mean, I think that could work. However, too, after the performance, that we saw yesterday out of Vizmelka, you're telling me he wouldn't be, a folk hero in Hartford?
Oh, yeah.
I mean, that's Marty Brodeur, Patrick Waugh,
Henrik
Lundqvist, right or no? I
No,
mean,
yeah, you're totally right. I mean, for him, for Vejmelka, we've seen some real huge bright spots, shutouts last season, 45 save games and stuff like that. So he's obviously a good goalie to kind of build a defense around, build the team around in general. But I mean, what do the Coyotes have other than him?
Keller, Clayton,
Mitch.
Good pitcher.
I mean, I guess, but
They need some offense.
They need a lot of things, dude.
Yeah.
So I don't know. We'll see. It's hopeful. It looks dope. But I don't know. I think moving is better for them.
How
general,
about
dude.
yeah? So I mean, Stanford too, a possibility. So we'll see. And it's kind of funny. I got the guy wrong of who I thought it would be, but we did actually get a hat trick out of the Oilers last night. But it was actually Evander Kane, your guy,
man.
as Edmonton puts up 4 in the first period.
The legend that is Evander Kane. Tony.
I can't believe you still have that one. Defeating the Predators 7-4 here. Jack Campbell, the defense helps him out. He only has to defend 23 shots, and even though he did allow 4 goals. You score 7, that'll do the job. And 2 of those goals, in the third period, you go into that third period up 5-2, tack on a couple goals between Draisaitl and Kane. Kane, actually, the last goal was on an empty netter. But
still a hat trick.
What do you think about Edmonton this season? Are they ready to, unseat the Colorado Avalanche and make it to the Stanley Cup Finals, 7-3 through their first 10 games?
I mean, obviously that's great, but I feel like it's the same Oilers we saw last year.
Except they have a competent tender,
right? But even so, it seems like they're still relying on their offense to win games, giving up 4 goals. I mean, Jesus, Draisaitl had 5 points, Kane had the 3 goals, McDavid too. I mean, you had all your points between 3 players, which is great. I mean, that's all you need. Excuse me, but I mean, it's not gonna happen every night. I mean, this was still kind of a closer game than it should be. Campbell's got to do better in net, honestly, for them to, I think, contend into the playoffs. That was a big reason why they were knocked out, is because they didn't really have a good goaltender. They need someone who's consistent, who can kind of shut down teams like the Predators. They need a harder defense, is what they would need to extend their run in the playoffs. Obviously, you have some of the best players in the league on your team. You're going to do well in the regular season. But again, once you get to the playoffs, it's a whole different animal. So, I mean, hey, they're going to have a great season. I'm sure of it. But again, they need to show me that it's like, you know what, we can have shutouts too,
Yeah. I mean, hard to argue with that, but I mean, the offense, as we know, is definitively there. Just kind of looking around the scores here, kind of surprised. Maybe they're going to contend this year. Seattle 5-4 over Calgary.
Crazy.
On the road, especially. I mean, I guess it's just like the NHL.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, any given night, anything can happen. But once again, see, I'm getting a little tight at daily faceoff because we look at it, and I know sometimes it says unconfirmed or likely, but a lot of times the goalies end up changing. And once again, Calgary starts Vladar, who allows 5 goals on 26 shots.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's no.
I mean, you're telling me Markstrom wouldn't allow 3 and they win 4-3 at the minimum,
and he let up 3 in the third period, I believe, too. So
come on, fraudulent, Tony.
For what, daily faceoff?
Yeah.
Well, when we look at you realize when we do look at the website, it's like 11 o'clock in the morning.
We should know.
No
inside information.
You're
telling me there's not an inkling by the time this clock strikes midnight? Come on. They know. They have a plan. Somebody knows. Anyway, slate tonight. We do have the Flyers at the Maple Leafs. That one on ESPN Plus, and then the national game. How about the TNT crew going to Buffalo?
Oh yeah,
for the Penguins and Sabres. So that's kind of interesting, and really, I mean, putting Buffalo to the test early here. And I know Pittsburgh only 4-4-2 in the early going. The Sabres 6-3, but I mean, we all know that, going into this year, especially, and just kind of everyone's sentiments for the end of the year is that Pittsburgh, will be one of the better teams in the East. Buffalo will have a tough time making the playoffs. So if they're going to change that narrative, you would imagine that it would start tonight. But definitely a tough spot too for the Flyers here back to back after playing in New York. Then they have to fly up to Canada to go against
It's like an
the
hour
Maple
flight.
Leafs.
Come on.
Yeah, but international travel, customs, all of that stuff.
Do they have to go through that whole thing?
Oh yeah.
Really? They don't get special treatment?
No. I mean, ask Dog about it. Speaking of Dog, yesterday he had his induction in Chicago. Sports Hall of Fame.
That's
so
nice.
Congratulations.
Did he look
Christopher?
Crack a smile.
Yes,
he did.
Yeah. Talking all wacky, as he would say. But that being said, Tony, you're just updating. I think you hit on 3 yesterday. I hit on 2. So points wise, you got 33. I have 38. And we're obviously going to the end of the World Series, so time is a ticking,
right?
As they would say.
And it doesn't matter who wins for us anyway.
What do you mean? For the World Series.
Yeah, you had picked the Yankees. I picked the Braves. I think.
Yeah. So we're tight there.
Yeah.
However, let's pick these 2 games.
Yeah, dude.
Either one, and I'm just trying to look at this. I think I know what game you're gonna take, but let's hear it.
This is another day, honestly, where I'm looking at these lines here.
320 Toronto.
Yeah, that is unbelievable,
back-to-back,
dude.
The travel.
Yeah, but Toronto's on like a 4-game. They lost to like Vegas, I think Seattle,
averages.
San Jose. Doesn't matter, dude. They're on a little bit of a skid here. I mean, they're blowing it, dude. They're losing these games. They lost 2 games in overtime. When you have Austin Matthews on your team, how do you lose? He should score within the first 2 seconds of overtime. Lost to the Ducks, the Kings in regulation, San Jose in overtime, Vegas in regulation. And they're letting up 4 or 3 goals every game here. This is no bueno. I mean, you look at, I don't know, man. I mean, I understand it's tough, but Carter Hart has been so solid for I almost said the Phillies again, for the Flyers. And I understand they lost last night, the back-to-back, but I mean, looking at this line, the -320 for Toronto. Bet the mortgage again. Flyers. I know I hit with the Bruins last night. I missed with the Caps last night. But I'm going to say Flyers here disappoint, the city of Toronto. Flyers take this one. I'll say 3-2 regulation.
Wow. Back-to-back, maybe backup tender.
Tortorella does not even think about back-to-backs, okay?
Or backup tenders.
Play some fucking hockey. Yeah, dude. He's a no-nonsense guy.
So we got the Penguins, we got the Sabres, and you know what? Listen, I know burned me last time, but I'm going to just take the Penguins. I think Buffalo, I know there's some hype there, but the Penguins, know that they're better than them. They're better than the record shows. So let's see Letang. Let's see Crosby, really take over here, and show, who the better team is. So I could see them kind of lighting them up here. So let's say Pittsburgh, with the win here, 6-3 over Buffalo.
I'm very surprised at you.
Percent full tonight at KeyBank. What's your guess? Pittsburgh.
No one from Pittsburgh is going up there, I don't think. Maybe 50%.
Wow.
63 tops.
63%. It's funny. I was just kind of looking at their team stats here. That still the whole Jake Gensel thing.
Yeah.
No, I'm saying
what
how
about it?
Until the playoffs,
the name?
We thought it was
Goose Snell.
So
funny.
Who did you were blaming it on Rosen or no?
Yeah.
But do you think it was an oversight on your part at this point or not?
Oh yeah, probably.
Because it's like, can we get? It's like Harbaugh. Can we get a video of that out there? So I just thought that was kind of funny. So yeah, light night in hockey tonight. However, we'll see what happens. But let's go now to the world of Major League Baseball.
Oh,
2-2. He got him swinging. A back-to-back strikeouts for Robbie Ray.
There's damage right there. Shohei. Way. Cy-Yo. Nada. Where did that land?
Smoke to Chapman, who leaps up and grabs it.
Story spins and fires. Out at first.
There it goes. See ya. Home run, Aaron Judge.
All right, Tony. So we had a home run derby last night at Citizens Bank Park.
yeah, only one team played.
Only one team came out to play, and it is really embarrassing when you think about the way Lance McCullers, pitched so well against the Yankees and the Phillies. I mean, you talk about minced meat, Tony. I mean, really just completely embarrass him last night. Balls flying out of the building left and right. 7-0 Phillies. They tie a World Series record with 5 home runs. The place was going nuts. The Phillies, obviously grab a 2-1 lead here, going into tonight's game 4. Ranger Suarez did his job in the tune of 5 innings, no runs, 4 strikeouts, 1 walk. And then they went to the bullpen, a combination of Brogdon, Gibson, Nelson, and Belletti. And Nick Nelson, a former Yankee. So another former Yankee on this Philadelphia Phillies team. So the bullpen does their job. McCullers gets shelled. What was your thought process? I don't know if it was like just thinking about tomorrow, but why did Dusty leave him in so long?
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, I maybe Dusty was thinking, oh, all right, like we've seen, McCullers. I'm sure they talked to him. I'm sure McCullers, they're hoping he would just settle down, mitigate that damage, and if you limit his damage to like maybe 3 runs, 4 runs, even tops, Astros can come back. You'd expect, the Astros be like, oh, like they're bound to get some hits. They're bound to get some home runs here. Obviously, evidently they did not. So I can see why Dusty let him in, left him in there. And, I think it is a little bit more, not necessarily just giving up this game, but definitely thinking about, tonight's game. Because who's pitching tonight?
Aaron Nola versus Christian Javier.
I feel like another lopsided matchup in terms of favoring the Phillies, I think. So maybe you're thinking, all right, let's save some of the bullpen guys. Let's see if McCullers can kind of settle down. I don't knock that decision. Of course, it didn't really help. And then on top of it, I mean, I don't think it would have mattered anyway because your offense didn't do anything anyway. So not a bad move by Dusty, if that's what you're trying to say.
I listen, and I know, momentum, you think about one game, and obviously they lost the previous game, but I think this series is over. I don't think we're going back to Houston.
No way.
The Phillies are winning tonight. They're winning tomorrow.
They're not winning tomorrow.
And they are ringing, Tony, that Liberty Bell.
Tomorrow is Verlander and Syndergaard, right?
I guess they're not sure about Syndergaard, but definitely, I guess, Verlander.
Yeah. Verlander's going to be icy. Okay.
He's going to get popped.
I know he got popped the first game, kind of.
Tony, why?
But what do you go the first game? 5-3? 5 innings, 3 runs?
I think you give him 5.
Yeah.
He had a 5-0 lead, and he blew it. Yeah. So.
But anyway, I feel like if Syndergaard pitches, he's going to get popped. I know it. Popped.
I don't know if the crowd.
Tattooed.
Robbie Thompson.
The crowd in Philly.
But listen, Tony, I know you hate the Phillies.
It's not about, I know you hate the Astros. And it's not about that.
No, but you're telling me, though, in sports, I feel like we get this thing where you get to a certain point in the postseason and you just feel like a team is meant to win. It almost reminds me of like the Bucks a couple years ago. And I just feel that with the Phillies here. I really do. I mean, the crowd, just the camaraderie of the team.
No, yeah, I agree. I mean, Philly has a phenomenal story coming into this postseason, coming into this World Series. But I don't think it's over, dude. Astros are not a team that they're just going to roll over and take it. They're going to be fighting. I'm telling you, it's going to go 7.
So, let's do a
Game by game.
no, well, I was just gonna say just bonus selection tonight since we're light with the hockey. So what's your prediction? Official pick. We'll add to the segment here. What's your pick for tonight?
I guess let's go heads up, dude. I'll take the Stros.
Okay.
I know who you're gonna pick, so
Well, yeah. I mean, you said let's go heads up. So
yeah, I know you're gonna pick the Phillies.
so what's the score though?
I would say Astros win this one, showing some nice offense here. Let's say 5-3.
5-3. 6-0 Phillies. Nola complete game.
That's
First
crazy.
complete game of the World Series probably in quite some time.
I would imagine so.
So let's get it done. And let's have the Astros lose their third consecutive World Series. Altuve, what's going on there, Tony? I mean,
0-4 last night. I know.
Just is he finished? I mean, is he what is it? Is he not as good without cheating? I mean, what is it with Altuve?
I don't know, because I feel like his season really that bad? I mean, he averaged 300 still, right? Let's see. Look at his season. Yeah, 300 batting average, 28 home runs, 57 RBIs, which is pretty low. OPS is 921. 57 RBIs.
Very weak.
That's really low, dude. Can't hit with runners in scoring position, I guess.
Yeah.
Interesting. So yeah, I mean, I don't know. I feel like just maybe off year, but I mean, in reality, like still decent production out of him, right?
Yeah. But I just, biggest stage. I don't know. Just folding.
I know he is folding, it seems, in the World Series. It seems like most of the Astros at the plate are folding in the World Series here. Look at Bregman 0-3. Gurriel was 1-4.
Alvarez.
I was gonna say Alvarez 0-4. Pena as well, 1-3 with a walk. I guess you could say they're not striking out a ton, but they're not. I mean, yeah, they got 5 hits last night, but 8 men left on base. Runners in scoring position only 3 times. McCormick, Tucker, and Altuve were all up with runners in scoring position. Obviously, they all went 0-1. So obviously nothing great here. Bullpen still pretty solid though.
Come on.
Just saying, dude.
Just saying. So it'll be interesting. Let's see what happens. But switching gears here, Tony. We do have yet another event on the PGA Tour, and this week we head to Mexico for the Worldwide Technology Championship at Mayakoba. And last week in Bermuda, a little bit of a light field. This week, though, we do have, some big names back in the field here. So just to give you a few, Victor Hovland, Scotty Scheffler, Tony Finau, Seamus Power, who won last week, Thomas Detry, JJ Spawn, Jason Day, Colin Morikawa, Harris English, Matt Kuchar, Aaron Wise. So you do have more firepower there. And I know, these fall events are definitely tricky. You think about Power last week. I mean, who would have seen that coming? And then, you have guys like Jason Day and Colin Morikawa who, sporadically will have good starts. But it just overall their body of work, of recent, just hasn't been what you expect. And you look at this course, this is the El Camaleon golf course at Mayakoba, par 71, 7,034 yards. And the scoring average over here since 2013, the winner averaging 20 under par. So I think birdies will be had. You think about the warm weather there down in Mexico. So kind of tough to, who's going to step up, who's going to win this tournament. There is definitely a lot of talent here. So give me something, give me a name here, Tony, to hoist the trophy. I know who you're going to say. Just say it. Just say it.
Who do you think I'm going to say?
I want you to say it first.
No, I'm curious.
Yeah, because then you're going to change what you're going to say. I promise you, I will say what I thought you were going to say. So go ahead.
Who's the favorite to win here, by the way?
Favorite to win? I mean, I guess if you're just looking at the power rankings, actually, let me just double check this. I
Oh,
think
the power rankings.
I always just go with PGAtour.com power rankings. Sure, I mean they might be a little biased. You never know. But basically, Victor Hovland, Scotty Scheffler,
Scotty Scheffler, really, dude.
Masters champ, Dell Technologies match play champ.
I guess give me Scheffler. Who'd you think it was?
I thought you were gonna say Finau.
Finau?
Yeah.
No.
I got him. Finau.
You
Done.
really? Do it. Fine.
Oh man. So should be fun to watch that one. And maybe we'll get some
Mexico,
low
dude.
numbers. I mean, we never see it. Very rare, and we saw it actually here in Connecticut. Breaking 60. Jim Furyk with a 59 up in Cromwell. So who knows? This course sets up pretty well, Tony. So we could have history in the making. And I can't wait to watch it.
Yeah, I think it's gonna be fun, dude. I'll even tune in.
There's one thing that I'm gonna need your assistance for, though.
What do you need?
You got me with a Prism pack. No, but actually a pack.
Oh, a literal pack? Oh, I thought you grabbed it. My bad. No, of course, dude.
So as Tony goes to grab me the Prism pack reveal. As Tony goes to grab me a pack, one thing, we're Prism pack, obviously, is tied in with the NBA, and we did have some news yesterday. Brooklyn Nets head coach Steve Nash let go, supposedly a mutual decision. But the drama, the reality show continues over there in Brooklyn. You think about all the money that owner Joe Tsai has invested in the team, last in the league in season ticket sales. I believe 2-5 after or 2-6 even after their loss last night to the Chicago Bulls. Things are an absolute mess in Brooklyn. It really is, in my eyes, pathetic. And I think it just shows, too. I mean, talent is one of the most important things. They are 2-6, by the way. Losing 108-99, outscored 31-19 last night in the fourth quarter. But, talent is very important. But, we joke around about camaraderie, and then you just think about team chemistry, buying in, and it's tough to buy in if you're the third best, the fourth best, the fifth best, the sixth best player on this team, when you have guys like Kyrie and Durant not appearing that they are buying in. Kyrie last night, 4 points, 2 of 12 from the floor. So the coach is out the door, and it was just kind of hilarious. Dave was having fun with it this morning. They asked Durant, I guess it was yesterday or something, but they were like, oh, were you surprised by the news? And he said he was shocked. And they're like, you're shocked. You said you wanted him out in the offseason. So I don't know how you would be shocked.
What an
that.
idiot.
So you have that, and then of course, Kyrie is his own reality show. So that situation continues on. And then to top it off, Jacques Vaughn, was the interim coach last night. They're heavily linked. No official announcement has been made. And I don't know if there's, some trepidation because of the backlash here, but it appears, could I get some music, that they are bringing in former Celtics coach who was suspended for this year, thought maybe be in the cards for next season, but apparently not. Ime Udoka, infamously the scandal, and the inappropriate actions within the organization, the texts, all of that. So I guess he is in line to become the next head coach of the Nets. He was an assistant there before taking the Boston job and leading them to the finals last season. So it's just more negative news after more negative news for the Nets. And it just stands right. I thought all along that they were not going to win a title because of there's no buying in, and there's no sense of team. I think that's the biggest thing there. So definitely a situation to monitor. Do they desperately trade Kyrie to the Lakers for Russell Westbrook just to get him off their hands? Do they try to trade Durant and reset? I mean, what is the move? You think with Udoka, though, who led the Celtics to the finals last year, that they would be trying to win and not trade Kyrie. And we know that Durant loves Kyrie. So I guess they're doing everything they can to keep him. But really just a complete mess, Tony.
Honestly, so embarrassing.
We might as well. I mean, the Nets right now are keeping up with the Kardashians. It really is the same thing. And it's just so embarrassing.
It really is, dude.
But we already played the bite. We got the music queued up. Could we get some music? Do we have music? So it is time for the prison pack. Voice still recovering. We'll get back out there soon enough.
All right, hold on. Let me set us up here. Bang.
All right.
Let me get over there. Yeah. Ooh, you know what, dude? Here's what we're going to do. Bang. Okay, here we go. I'm coming, Brian.
All right. So we'll give Tony a second to to get over here as we see me not once but twice on the screen. So that's something interesting there. Let me know when you're ready, Tony.
I am ready.
All right. So the first card from the Atlanta Hawks, Jalen Johnson. So, one of the younger players in the league, a guy looking to make a name for himself. So something different here. We haven't had a Jalen Johnson card before, and this is an emergent card. So the holographics, the Pokemon, all of that. A guy that I've always been a big fan of. And I know actually, though, I haven't researched it, what's going on with him. But when on the floor, he's been great. From the Charlotte Hornets, Miles Bridges. So one of the more talented forwards in the league, but I do not know what is going on with the legal situation. So that's the one damper as far as that's concerned. And another guy from the Charlotte Hornets, the big man, PJ Washington Jr. So a guy who's solid with the rebounds, the blocks, the defense. So, good, fundamentally sound player. And this is one of those that Tony always gets riled about. A guy I haven't really heard of, and the name is going to be a struggle. We're going to give it our best shot, though. From the Sacramento Kings, Neemias Quetta. So, definitely something different here. Power center who can put it in gear and race down the floor for chase down blocks. So, should be exciting. Went to Utah State. So that is our pick 4 here on the Prism Pack reveal. Let's go. So, Tony, I'm finally learning with the cards, though. We gotta pan one more time. No, dude, let's go one more pan. I finally have the cards in the right direction. But we're all about improvisation here on the Sports Port. So we love to see that. And one other, basketball note I wanted to mention, and we obviously have been keeping track of the Knicks this year, 3-3 so far, including 3-0 at home. Back at home tonight. Looks like Quentin Grimes is out. Cam Reddish day to day. In the Hawks, who are there playing, dealing with some injuries as well. Bogdanovich out. Ogwanu day to day. But Trey returned to the Garden. I'm surprised this one is not on national TV, but Mike Breen, Clyde Frazier will do the job on MSG here. So the Knicks looking to pick up a victory here at home, go to 4-0, 2-point favorites. So it should be a fun game to watch. And I really think too, Jalen Brunson has made a big impact here and elevated the play of Julius Randle. We know that he needed it after last season. So the NBA continues on. Also too, the Lakers back in action here, actually going up against the Pelicans. Obviously, the infamous Anthony Davis trade. As the Pelicans sit at 4-2, Zion balling out, Lakers scuffling 1-5. So in desperate need of a victory here. We'll see if they're able to get it done and try to somewhat salvage their season.
You think they will?
No. You're not doing your job. I don't know. I could see
Mr. Poo-Poo.
Zion and Brandon Ingram just going off.
Is Zion? I thought Zion was hurt.
He's
No?
banged up, but he's fine.
The bugaboo, Tony.
And really the bugaboo for the Lakers has been the inconsistency.
Bullshit.
Strike three. A nice victory last time out against Denver, but
LeBron maybe not starting.
take a little sabbatical. Maybe Westbrook not starting.
Oh.
LeBron doesn't come off the bench. He's a loser, but we know that. Westbrook is the loser. But other than that, Tony, other than a very good episode of Gaming Corner coming up later today, anything else?
Oh my God, yeah, dude. We're doing a little bit of the downtime equinox today because we have obviously, we did Sportsport 1 o'clock. We're doing screen time. Believe it or not, it seems that many of these production companies are already on to Christmas because there's a lot of trailers coming out. Christmas movies, Christmas Story remake. They're rehashing the Santa Claus movie with Tim Allen. Guardians of the Galaxy Christmas special, dude.
I mean, how many times can Tim Allen put on a Santa suit? I mean, come on.
Oh, come on, dude. Dude, honestly, I think it's kind of washed up. But also, the title is Santa Clauses, so maybe he's passing down the torch now. New Santa Claus. I don't know. But it's all Disney Plus stuff. So Manny and I are going to be talking about, Disney Plus action and stuff. And also, I don't know if you're aware of the actor who plays Superman, but he's back as Superman now. He said he was done.
What's his name?
Henry Cavill. He was The Witcher, left The Witcher, came back to be Superman, but it was a whole big thing because he left from being Superman to do The Witcher. Whole big thing. All the news. And then, of course, at 4 o'clock, we have the two of us going mano a mano, okay, on whatever golf course you want to choose.
Wow.
PGA 2K23 on the PS4. I'm totally stoked, dude. It's going to be a great gaming corner. I'm really interested to see the outcome and how it kind of goes, dude.
Yeah. Maybe we'll throw in a Derby, a 2K, a Madden. We'll see if time allows, Tony.
Yeah, dude.
But that being said, I mean, what a day. Obviously, we're amped for screen time and amped for Gaming Corner.
What a show.
So
what
I
a
will
life.
see you guys in a little bit. You'll see Tony in a little bit as well. But once again, we'd like to thank you for tuning in and continuing to comment, like, and subscribe.
All right.
As well as check out the archives on the YouTube page, Tony and Michael in costume. As well as the merch, downtimetv.com. Everybody enjoy their day, enjoy the games, and we will see you mañana.
Hey guys, Tony here from Downtime TV checking in. I want to thank all our fans out there who's been liking, subscribing, sharing our content. You guys are the best. You guys are our bloodline. You make us love what we do. Thanks again.